Jerry Greenfield, the co-founder of Ben Jerry's, has decided to part ways with the iconic ice cream company after nearly 5 decades, citing a critical loss of the brand's cherished independence on social issues. This dramatic move shines a spotlight on a brewing conflict over how much freedom a socially conscious brand can truly have under a corporate giant. Greenfield's departure comes as a clear denunciation of Ben Jerry's parent company, Unilever, which he claims has steadily eroded the autonomy that was promised when Unilever acquired the company over 20 years ago. In a heartfelt letter shared by co-founder Ben Cohen on social media, Greenfield expressed that he could no longer, in good conscience, remain with Ben Jerry's because the company's ability to boldly advocate for peace, justice, and human rights, its hallmark for decades, has been significantly curtailed. For more than 2 decades under Unilever's ownership, Ben Jerry's stood firm, speaking out on pressing social justice issues as they unfolded in the real world. Greenfield wrote, "It's profoundly disappointing to acknowledge that the independence at the core of our agreement with Unilever has effectively vanished." Ben Jerry's is not just famous for its unique flavors like Cherry Garcia and fish food, but also for its outspoken progressive values. Over the years, the brand has courageously voiced opinions on civil rights, equity, and other critical social causes. Greenfield pointed out that this loss of voice comes at a time when the United States has seen intensified attacks on civil liberties. Under the Trump administration's policies targeting voting rights, immigrant protections, women's rights, and LGBTQ+ freedoms, now more than ever, standing up for justice and shared humanity is vital, Greenfield emphasized. Yet Ben Jerry's has been muted and pushed aside out of fear of antagonizing those in power. Tensions have been escalating for some time. Ben Jerry's public disputes with Unilever became especially apparent during the Israel-Hamas conflict in Gaza, where the ice cream brand accused its parent company of blocking its pro-Palestinian statements. Adding to the upheaval, Unilever is currently planning to spin off its ice cream division, including Ben Jerry's, into a separate entity named the Magnum Ice Cream Company. Responding to Greenfield's exit, Magnum issued a statement thanking him for his decades of service, but made it clear they disagreed with his view. "While we hold immense respect for Jerry's vision, we believe the best way forward is through dialogue," said a representative. They reiterated their commitment to preserving Ben Jerry's legacy of peace, love, and socially conscious ice cream. Meanwhile, Greenfield and Cohen continue to advocate for Ben Jerry's to regain full independence from any corporate umbrella that might undermine its founding mission. This struggle isn't new. Earlier this year, Ben Jerry's accused Unilever of unlawfully removing the brand's CEO in retaliation for their political activism. A move the company said breached their merger agreement. Unilever's acquisition of Ben Jerry's back in 2000 for $326 million was originally framed as a partnership that would allow the Vermont-based ice cream maker to scale its social activism alongside business growth. However, experts caution that true autonomy is rarely guaranteed once a brand is absorbed by a multinational corporation. Kimberly Whitler, a marketing professor at the University of Virginia, points out, the actions of a brand inevitably affect its parent company and vice versa. If complete control over messaging is non-negotiable, remaining independent is usually the only option. Similarly, Tommaso Bondi, a marketing expert at Cornell Tech, reflected that both sides likely underestimated the challenges of merging a purpose-driven brand with a global conglomerate. He notes that the landscape of social and political activism has evolved drastically over the past 25 years, and Unilever's massive scale forces it to avoid polarizing stances, setting up an inherent conflict with Ben Jerry's outspoken identity. This friction dates back years. In 2021, Ben Jerry's took a bold stand by refusing to sell products in Israeli settlements in occupied territories, a decision which led to Unilever selling its Israeli operations to a local company intending to continue selling ice cream under the Ben Jerry's brand in the region. The following years saw legal battles and additional public disputes over censorship of Ben Jerry's social media content that anticipated controversies around key progressive issues. All of this unfolds amid a broader backdrop where many businesses face pressure to sideline social activism, especially given political climates like that under the Trump administration, which aggressively cracked down on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives nationwide. Columbia Business School professor Vanessa Burbano's research suggests that modern consumers and stakeholders often prefer companies to remain apolitical or avoid overt political involvement. Still, as she notes, this stance is complicated. Companies risk alienating their audiences if they suddenly shift from outspoken activism to silence, or vice versa. Beth Egan, an advertising expert at Syracuse University, explains this balancing act. Businesses need to have a clear identity and maintain consistency over time. She acknowledges Unilever's caution given today's polarized political environment, but warns that trying to mute a brand like Ben Jerry's with its deep-rooted social mission may ultimately backfire. Here's the controversial element. Should companies sacrifice their voice on pressing social issues to protect profit margins and avoid alienating segments of consumers? Or does staying true to a mission of activism, even at the risk of conflict with corporate overseers, build long-term brand loyalty and authenticity? What do you think? Is it better for brands like Ben Jerry's to remain fiercely independent? Or does integration into a global corporation inevitably mean compromising on values? Share your thoughts and let's start the conversation.